Xihao, it's great to see you, and
Good
you
to see you.
always bring the wisdom and the energy into the room. Thank you for being here.
Hopefully, I don't fall asleep. I'm just kidding. It's only 9 o'clock here.
Uh, can you briefly share with us your cultural background and career path?
Sure. I'm actually originally from China. I grew up in Shanghai, right in the center city, and I moved here when I was about 18 years old and went to college in Minnesota. A very small college called Bemidji State, and it's absolutely the coldest place I've ever been to. I think the first winter quarter I was there was wind chill. The lowest temperature was minus 68 Fahrenheit. I think after a certain point, Fahrenheit and Celsius are exactly the same, so it is very cold. And I graduated from Bemidji and went to work for Deloitte in Minneapolis and spent about 13 years at Deloitte and moving around 4 times. So I started in Minneapolis, I moved to Chicago, and then Deloitte National Office in Wilton, Connecticut, and then Deloitte's consulting practice in New York, and back down to DC and spent 3.5 years there between consulting and audit. And then I joined TD from Washington, D.C., moving over to Toronto to become TD's chief accounting officer, and was there for about 4.5 years, and then moved back down to U.S., becoming the deputy CFO in U.S. For about 3 years, and then moved back to Toronto again. Seems very busy to be the chief auditor for TDBG at the enterprise level. And then March 2021, I believe, I came back down to U.S. as the CFO of our U.S. bank. So that's the career journey. And lots of moving. Had lots of fun meeting different people at different places. So it's been worthwhile.
You. So, how old were you when you become the managing partner at Deloitte?
Yeah, I made partner at Deloitte in 10 years. I think at the time, average is probably 12 to 13 years. Now it's a little bit longer.
Mm.
So I was 33 years old. Not that young, but it's relatively quick to make partner. I think got lots of support from different partners in different offices. The fact that I moved around and met different people also helps. So those partners were willing to put their name out there as the sponsor for my partnership. So it was pretty exciting.
That's great. So, in the early stage of your career at Deloitte, you mentioned that you never wanting to become a partner when you started a career. What changed it?
I don't know. It's it's actually it was true when I first joined Deloitte. I still remember the instructor who was one of the senior manager in the office asked at the starting class of 15 in Minneapolis. It's relatively small audit. Who wants to be partner? I think 13 out of 15 people raised their hands. I didn't, because I don't know what being a partner mean at the time, and also just sound like so far away. Like all the partners around, they're old white guys, so I'm not sure I want to be one of them. So that might be part of the reason why I don't want to be a partner. But as time goes on, I do find being a partner at a big four firm is attractive. One is if it gives you the platform to do what you want to do, especially trying to be a little bit of a salesman versus just being a technical accountant. And then second, it does put a good resume on your good experience on your resume as a partner. And if you want to do something afterwards, it give you a better platform than just jumping from a senior manager.
Now, most interesting question that everybody waiting to hear is how you become the partner. I mean, like you said, you're a technical guy, know the detail. There's a certain criteria for people to become a partner. How do you make it?
One part is probably like every other Asian professionals to just work your butt off. If I remember correctly, before I joined the partnership the last year, I had over 3,500 hours that last year, off which like 2,700 were chargeable hours. That is essentially working two people in 1 year, and it's pretty amazing. I actually didn't know the stats. I just working charging hours until the day I have to present my partnership eligibility. So I have to pull the stats of the system. I was actually shocked how many hours I worked. No wonder my mom was not wanting to talk to me for a period of time, because I absolutely ignored my family at that time. It's not a good story from a family perspective. It's probably good from dedication to the bank, to the firm's perspective. And the second is probably sales. I'm not very comfortable with sales. I would say, coming from a technical background, I'm very shy about selling, especially the market I was covering at the time was from Washington D.C. to Puerto Rico. It's all Deloitte's southern regions. And in some of the cities where you go to do a presentation, go to do a RFP, literally everyone sitting in the boardroom, they're all white people, and you're the only non-white people presenting. It's not very comfortable. And one of the actually mentor I had from one of the banks, he said you have to really think about a different strategy. One is culture wise, the listeners, the one that adjudicate on whether you get the project are all white people. That's number one. Number two, because I live in DC, I don't live in the South. A lot of people, they live in the city, the big four partners, they socialize with the bank executives. Their wife socialized with the executive's wife, and the kids play with the executive kids. So you don't have much of a chance coming in trying to get the project if you don't take a different route to do the selling. So my route is also leveraging on, I thought I had superb technical skills, and I read a lot. I can spend time to actually do some free work for those guys. So whenever there's some new guidance coming out or new regulation come out, I will do a free analysis to some of the banks I think that could be most impacted, and send those as a freebie to them. So once they see it and they like the products, they may just give me a call back so I can get the business from there. So, build a reputation through very much of hard work and trailblazing in the South to open it up.
So how many, like when you say you almost write a white paper and then send it out, how many white paper you send it out?
I don't know if I can count them, but it's not always very long. It's just to the point, a few points just to draw interest. But the time I spent on it probably is quite a bit, because you got to read through their material, find everything online that's pertinent to that topic before you can start writing about it. And you don't have any inside information about them. So everything you do is trying to do the best research you can and apply the guidance that you understand. So it takes a lot of time. The deliverables may not look when you add it together, it doesn't look that much, but the hours spent on trying to put the deliverables together were tremendous.
Thank you. I like you. I think you have a unique sales story. I would call it a successful sales in Asian way, because you use your technical background and do your sales instead of a traditional way. Thank you for sharing that. And as a CFO of TD Bank, what's your communication strategy to your internal client and external client?
Yeah, I don't do as much external facing because I'm a subsidiary CFO. So in US, the most I talk to probably is the rating agencies. I don't talk to any other external folks as much. Maybe do some panels, interviews. So I don't consider it as communication about the bank strategy. Internally, though, there are a lot, and being a relatively young bank in US, TD has invested in US since probably 25 years ago. So we're overall still pretty young in US, and try to open up the market, do something that we believe is successful in Canada and extrapolate those in US. It's not always easy. And also the regulation is very different. In Canada, you're the big five, you're the oligopoly, everyone is nice to you to some degree. But coming to US, you're just one of the 4,000 banks, and you get the same treatment, especially after the SVB crisis. I think every bank got tons of scrutiny, especially regional banks. So I think the toughest part is to communicate to the regulators about what you do, how you do it, and whether they can trust your products and trust your controls and governance. And those are important. Sometimes it could be frustrating because whatever you're thinking is different from theirs. But I took one of the comments from my old boss in Canada when I first joined TD. She said everyone is very defensive when regulators call them out. And but you think about it, every time they call you out, there must be some reason. Whether it's completely justifiable or not, it may not be, but there's always a little hole in your control, in your reporting, in your strategic thinking that may not be completely jiving with the best practice or jiving with the regulation. Just sit back, don't be defensive, and try to take the best out of it. That would be the best way to deal with regulators. It also make the communication much easier when you're not defensive.
you. Um, so what can other Asians learn from your sales strategy and also your communication techniques?
I think everyone has a little bit different ways of getting there. Not everything I do could be extrapolated by another person and do it equally successful. It's not because I'm just that much smarter or just that much better in communications, because everyone faces different audience and angle may be different and intensity may be different. I would say find your niche, find your strength, and do it your way. Take in all the different strengths from other people, learn it, think about it, but find a way that fits the best for you and to do that communication, do that sales. And that will be the most important part. And the one thing though, it is universal. Whenever you do sales and do your communications, be genuine. Just not trying to do sales for sales purposes. If you're not genuine, I don't think you're going to sell for the long run. You may sell one or two projects, but may not be for the sustainable relationship going forward.
So can you elaborate a little bit more or give an example? What do you mean be genuine?
So I remember we sold a project to a bank at the time related to a loan accounting I would say software. The approach we took, it was not about how great the software was, is about, hey, this is a new endeavor by all the banks around, and it's a very complicated accounting implementation, and the software from everyone is probably not perfect, and we're not perfect either. Here are the things that we can do. Here are the things we're still not being able to do, but we'd like to work with you to actually solve all the problems. That's why we're also putting up some upfront discount. So letting your counterparty know what you're able, what you're not able to do, and willingness to work with them to fix some of the problem that we cannot fix right now, not having a live example, it's actually helpful. So they are actually willing to work with us because everyone's new. You cannot find a perfect software at the time out there. But by having a partner that can tell you upfront what they're not good at, you make you feel comfortable. So along the way, they know we'll be completely honest with them in terms of what is doable, what is not doable.
Thank you for that insights. Definitely, that's very important. And I think you mentioned the senior leadership support and the mentoringship has played a vital role in your career success. Now I know you dedicate a lot of time to mentoring others. Xihao, why is mentoring so important?
I think everyone grow, like I said, earlier, you have to find your own style. But in order to find your own style, you need to take in advice from different people to see how other people have done it and done it successfully. So by taking different angles, can make your final pitch, final approach to be the best you can that suits you best. When I first was going through the ranks at Deloitte, I always think that I probably don't need mentorship, and people can see me as what I am. And if I do good work, people will see it, and they will come talk to me. And it turned out to be that's probably not the best way to handle it. I remember I was working in DC and traveled to New York a lot. And what my approach is, I want to get the most out of my day. So I'll take the earliest train possible out of DC. I think it's 6 a.m. A Acela train all the way go to New York, and then wrap it up and take the last train out from New York and go home. In between, I just do all the work I can and meeting with the clients on the meetings possible, jam packed. The one thing I don't do is stop by to talk to my senior partners, asking for some advice, asking how I'm doing, telling them what I'm doing, getting some perspective from what they view me from outside. And that really turned out to be a mistake, especially my first year as a partner, as I was trying to learn how to sell stuff. I didn't get the benefits of those guidance. I'm just trying to do it on my own. And so get that mentorship, get the perspective. It may be different from what you're thinking. It's helpful to expand your horizon and make yourself better.
Thank you. So, how did you find the right mentors?
uh Trial and error. Not everyone is good for you, and when you find someone that's not that good for you, you should also cut the ties off pretty quickly in a nice way. Don't say, hey, I don't want you, I don't want to talk to you anymore, But if you not finding the right mentor, you keep talking to him or her, it actually is a waste of her time, his or her time, and your time as well. So my advice is try different people, trying to see who's the one that can give you the best value. And if you don't find someone useful in a way that can provide you a different perspective on what you're thinking, and politely say, you know what, thank you for the advice provided so far. I think I got what you're saying. At this moment, I'm going to move on to a different person, get a different perspective. Don't stay out for very long, and then you don't get anything out of it. That sounds very rude, but I think it's effective, at least for me.
Thank you. So you have accomplished so much in your career. If you had a choice, what would be your dream job?
The dream job has nothing to do with everything I'm doing today. I always want to be a sportscaster. That's one of my dream job, and the other job I want to have is to be a Supreme Court justice. I don't think either of them is happening, and there's a long time there was a ESPN competition to compete for a sports anchor job, and I actually taped myself, but I never sent the tape in. And after watching the show, I thought I made a better decision not to send it in because the show was brutal. I will be just completely tortured on the show if I ever get selected to be one of them. But if I had to do it over again, starting from very beginning, I may try to see if I can be a sportscaster.
Thank you. Thank you for enlightening us with your funny, lovely story and the unique sales strategy. Many of us, I think, will like to emulate your ideas. I certainly do. Thank you for your time and for your wisdom.